All right, let's talk about two giants in the world of search and analytics, OpenSearch and Elasticsearch. They started from the exact same place, but a pretty dramatic split sent them down two totally different roads. And that split, well, it has some massive implications for developers and businesses, probably even for you.
So here's what we're going to do. First, we'll get into the whole fork in the road story, that one moment that split a single platform into two. Then we'll dig into what OpenSearch really is. We'll check out the security features it packs right out of the box, which is a big deal. After that, it's a head-to-head showdown. And finally, we'll help you figure out which one might be the right call for whatever you're building.
Okay, so how on earth did we get here with two platforms that look and feel so similar? Well, the whole story really boils down to this classic clash, It's the ideals of the open source community versus a company's business plan. It's all about a big disagreement over what the word open actually means.
So what was the catalyst for this huge split? You might think it was some big technical bug or a performance problem, right? Nope. The entire thing blew up over one single issue, a change in the software license. Seriously, that's it. One decision by the original creators sent these massive shockwaves through the whole community and basically sparked a rebellion.
See, for more than 10 years, everything was great. Elasticsearch was living its best life under the super flexible Apache 2.0 license. But then, January 2021 rolls around, and its creator, a company called ElasticNV, decides to switch things up. They move to a much more restrictive license, the SSPL. And for a lot of people, especially big players like AWS, that was a total deal breaker. So what did they do? They took the last version of the code that was truly open source, made a copy, that's what forking is, and just a few months later, boom, OpenSearch was born. The whole point was to make sure this amazing technology would stay open for everyone, for good.
And just like that, out of this whole licensing mess, OpenSearch came into the picture. So what is it really? Is it just some clone of an old version of Elasticsearch, or has it actually evolved into its own thing? Let's dig in and find out.
The easiest way to think about OpenSearch is as the spiritual successor to the original open-source Elasticsearch. Because it was built from a specific version of that original code, it was made to be perfectly compatible. For a developer, that's huge. It meant that switching over was often as easy as just changing a web address in their code. It was a true drop-in replacement. But this time, it came with a promise. It would always stay free and open under that friendly Apache 2.0 license.
Now, you might be thinking this is just some side project from AWS, right? Well, not at all. To make sure it stays neutral and is around for the long haul, it's actually governed by the Linux Foundation. And you've got some real heavy hitters on board. Companies like SAP and Uber are actively contributing. That gives it some serious credibility in the business world and shows this is a real community effort that's built to last.
And the community's reaction? It was absolutely massive. I mean, get this. In just a few years, OpenSearch has been downloaded over 1 billion times. 1 billion! That's not a niche project. That proves it's a major player, standing on its own 2 feet.
So, what's behind this incredible growth? Why are so many people choosing OpenSearch? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is what you get right out of the box. And let's focus on a really critical one, security. Okay, check this out. From the moment you install it, OpenSearch comes with a full-blown security suite, and it's completely free. We're not talking about some basic, flimsy security here. We're talking about the whole package. Encryption for your data in transit, authentication to make sure users are who they say they are, super detailed access control to manage permissions, and even audit logs to keep track of everything. These are the kind of serious enterprise-level features you usually have to pay extra for.
And when I say detailed access control, I mean really detailed. You can control permissions not just at the database level, but you can go all the way down to a single document or even a single field inside that document. So imagine this. You could let one person see a customer's record but hide their email address, while a different person can see the whole thing. That level of pinpoint control is incredibly powerful, and it's exactly the kind of thing companies usually write big checks for.
All right, it's time for the main event. Let's put these two head to head. We're going to compare OpenSearch and Elasticsearch on the things that really matter when you're making a choice.
So, the first and biggest difference isn't even about technology. It's about philosophy. It's really community versus company. OpenSearch is run by the community with a license that basically says, do what you want with it. It's super permissive. Elasticsearch, on the other hand, is controlled by one company, Elastic, and their licenses are designed to protect their business. It's just a fundamentally different approach.
And this is where that philosophical difference starts to hit your wallet. You're going to see a pattern here.
All those critical security features that big companies need, things like hooking into your corporate user directory or keeping detailed audit logs, they all come free with OpenSearch. But with Elasticsearch, those exact same features are locked away behind expensive, paid subscription plans. And that feature difference flows right into pricing. If you're hosting it yourself, OpenSearch is 100% free. End of story. With Elasticsearch, the moment you need one of those advanced features, you got to pull out the credit card. And it's the same story in the cloud. OpenSearch is usually a pay-as-you-go model. You only pay for what you actually use. Elastic and more about subscription tiers. For a lot of teams, that makes OpenSearch way more predictable and frankly a lot cheaper as they start to scale up. Okay, so after all of that, we're back to the big question. Which one is right for you? Look, there's no magic answer that fits everyone, but we can definitely break it down based on what you and your team care about most. So who should pick Elasticsearch? Well, you should go with Elasticsearch if you need the absolute cutting-edge proprietary stuff, like their really advanced machine learning features. Also, if you need that enterprise-grade 24/7 support direct from the vendor and you have the budget for it, they're the ones to call. They've also been around longer, so they have a huge ecosystem of tools and plugins. It's a very mature and powerful platform, no doubt about it.
And what about OpenSearch? It's probably the right choice for you if your team is all in on open source and you want to avoid getting locked into a single vendor's ecosystem. If you're already building stuff on AWS, the deep native integration is a massive win. And maybe most importantly, if you need all those core enterprise security features, but you don't have the enterprise budget to match, well, OpenSearch is a no-brainer. The value is just incredible.
So this fork in the road created two really distinct paths, but you know what? Both of them are pushing the world of search forward. The choice you make isn't just about a list of features, it's about what you believe in. It's a choice of philosophy. And it leaves us with this really interesting question about the future of open source software itself. Is that future going to be built on collaboration or on competition? The answer to that is going to define the tools that all of us are using for a long, long time.